I think that I have never seen the one before this, and so I will have to go back and watch it. I know I've seen at least somebody's review, but the actual movie I don't think I've seen. So Jennifer Lawrence's Mystique was new to me. I liked that. Let's see.
Her hair was a lot better in this movie compared to the last movie. It was
really?
It was all wrong. They made it more like the original first 3 movies, where the hair was all red and slicked back completely. Whereas in the first one, whenever she was younger, obviously.
Right.
In the first movie, but every time they showed her, it was the worst bob thing that you would ever see. And I could not take her character seriously with a straight face because of that hairdo.
Oh, from the last one?
Yep.
Sad town. There you go. Things that I did like. I liked the Sentinel design. I could not figure out what on earth was going on with them. Now, I'm not a huge comic book reader, and I did not do X-Men, the cartoon, a whole lot. But I remember seeing them, and I remember there being giant purple robots with helmets that looked kind of like Magneto's, but with the straight across visor thing. And so having the weird ripply super metal, not metal, lizard spike arm nightmare fuel was kind of cool.
They don't really, in the comics, I've never really seen that particular design. I've obviously read a lot more comics than you have, but of the future Sentinels that I've seen, they never really get to that point where they have adaptive armor, or they're practically they're chameleons or some sort. I don't remember that.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean that it was bad. The part that I remember in the comics was I remember an arc where it's the future and a lot of the mutants are dead, and they're not dead necessarily because of Sentinels, but Beast goes super crazy and starts to genetically manipulate his own super soldier mutants. And they're all crosses between Wolverine, Cyclops, and Nightcrawler. So they're all teleporting, laser shooting, Healy bastards.
Oh, no.
And the whole reason that they're around is because Beast has this fanatic fascination with trying to get a hold of Jean Grey's Phoenix egg, which is apparently a thing. So he can birth her again and make him his.
Creepy. Alright, moving along.
I never got past that part. That was all I got.
Alright, well thankfully, this is not that creepy. And, I do like how they use this to just go back and unwrite everything that happened in X-Men 3, which I did see that one.
Yeah. A lot of people wish that X-Men 3 never happened.
Well, it looks like Marvel listened and you got your wish. Because they were just like, oh, well, that never happened.
Of all the things that Marvel is bad for doing, one of the things is usually listening to retcon and hopeful and trying to please a lot more people than hurt. So, good on you for that, Marvel.
Other things that were cool. I mean, there was Dinklage. Peter Dinklage.
Peter Dinklage.
And I didn't like him in this.
He had I didn't mind him, but my problem with him was that he had a hard time getting his accent to stay.
Yeah, he doesn't. I don't know that I've listened to any interviews with him lately, and so
He's English.
Okay, because his English accent is not right either. I mean, well, not right as
he sounds like Tyrion
in
in
Game
real
of
life.
Thrones. Okay, so that is actually what he sounds like.
Yeah.
Because that does not sound like straight up British to me either. It's like this weird. He must be from someplace that has like a strange colloquial accent, which is cool. Yeah, but he just could not. The ends of some of his words just could not get him to come out correctly. So it sounded a little funny.
Yeah. He was an interesting character. I don't remember Trask in the comics, but I know that he was there because Trask was the one that did the Sentinel program. But they never really bring that up in the cartoons, obviously, and that is one of the things that a lot of people are like. A lot of fans of X-Men, a lot of people have seen the cartoon, and so a lot of people are like, "That's canon," and you know, you can consider it canon in a lot of senses because they try to keep true to the original comics and everything for the powers, for the way that the X-Men look and things like that.
Right. I remember seeing a few episodes, and from what I remember, everything seems to flow pretty well, just like it would in the cartoon. Like the movies take most of their inspiration from the comic/cartoon.
Right.
So that's cool. I also liked that this one was not 100% about Logan. Like, we got some other people going on.
He was only a catalyst.
Yeah.
And that's fine. And they had a lot of people to pay on this movie.
They did. This was a pretty stellar cast.
There were some people that got higher billing than others, which I didn't think they needed.
Yeah, I wasn't really sure about that. I was like, what?
Like, Halle Berry's character probably got higher billing than some people.
Halle Berry got higher billing than Dinklage did, which...
I think.
Yeah. Even though she has, like, 3 lines, which is not a bad thing. I like her now as Storm better than I did earlier, because she just... I don't know, tried too hard to sell it in the first movies. Now she's... it's been, like, what, 10 years since the first one came out? Maybe more?
Right.
And she just seems to have grown into that role, and it just works a whole lot better. Like, it's much more believable now.
The problem with her in the movies is that she is a one-trick pony. She's eyes go white, let's start a storm. That's all she's good for. And that's really annoying, because in the comics, she has turned into such a badass that it's ridiculous. She was a pit fighter for a while. She knows so many. She's such a martial artist expert, besides being able to manipulate the weather. And her forte in the comics is more lightning strikes, which she did in the movie, obviously.
Right.
But it's not just, I'm going to throw around storms because that's all I do. I'm going to make my eyes white. I'm going to float up in the air and I'm going to watch everybody do what they do.
Yeah, and I guess that, they only let her do that one trick one time in this, and so that was nice.
Yeah, it wasn't every time.
Yeah, so she wasn't in it enough for that to get repetitive. And like I said, I just like the way that they had her styled with the short hair. She just had a little bit more of that gritty look to him. I think they did a good job with making them a little gritty looking. My one question is that the future is a dark, scary, dismal place, apparently for the mutants.
For the world.
Okay.
If you remember, they talked about how the Sentinels started to target regular people because they were going to pass on the mutant gene to someone else. Right.
So, I mean, is no one safe basically? Because they don't really
except a select few.
Okay. So, I mean, that's my one problem with apocalyptic movies is that, and I guess you have such a short amount of time to get across the emotion of it, but it's always got this weird hellish storm cloud in the background that is some unnatural color, and it's like daylight doesn't exist anymore, and it's just very I'm well, post-apocalyptic, but almost to a caricature of itself. It's like they've done it, like it is so expected that nobody knows how to project a dismal future atmosphere without that, like, you know, purple skies, almost stormy thing going on all the time.
It reminded me of The Matrix, especially when those ships started flying in. I was like, oh, look, they're bringing out Sentinels, just like in the Matrix movie, to attack the Nebuchadnezzar.
But anyway, so...
I liked the movie. I thought it was really good. I thought all the characters had their moments. It got a little slow in the middle, but it took a lot of time. This is a story about Charles Xavier. It's not a story about Magneto, because he goes fuck all. It's not a story about Mystique, because she goes fuck all. They're key players in the narrative, but they're never the narrative.
It's right. It's about the struggle that Charles feels about coming to terms with who he is and his power for good or for bad, and that he just has to accept that part of himself to move on.
Right.
Yeah. And it's a good story, and they tell it well. Needs more Quicksilver. He was so cute.
Yeah, he was cute. But that's where a lot of us nerds are gonna go on and on about how that was one of the big problems that was kind of there.
Okay.
Quicksilver, and his twin sister, the Scarlet Witch.
Right.
They weren't twins. She clearly was smaller than him and younger. Remember when at the end where he was kind of looking at the TV?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, they're twins, and they are Magneto's kids.
Well, yeah, they kind of threw that out there.
Mm-hmm. The other thing that I'm pissed off about, and it's not that, and again, you know, I like the movie, but the one little thing that really ticked me off was that they never really explained how Kitty Pryde, Shadowcat, Ellen Page's character, all of a sudden knows how to send people back through time.
Okay, thank you. I wondered about that. I was like, no, she phases through walls.
That's all she knows how to do. She knows how to phase.
I mean, I guess you could say she could figure out how to phase through time, given enough time.
Yep.
And I'm sure that with the help of Xavier, that they could work on it and figure out how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah. Okay, thank you. I was wondering about that myself. But...
Yeah. And time travel is always a touchy subject with most movies, and it plays a lot into what's going to happen with this. How is it going to affect the timeline of the older movies? Which clearly it did. It shows at the end, and this isn't a huge spoiler, but it shows at the end that it basically shows that at least the third movie never happened. At the very least, the third movie never happened.
Right.
And I can never remember the guy who played Xavier.
Young Xavier?
Yeah. He's in a lot of good movies, and he did real good in this one. And Hank was window dressing. I kind of would have done fine without Hank in that.
Oh,
Beast.
Yeah.
Magneto was okay in it, and I could start to kind of nitpick why I really don't feel like he should have been in it at all.
Well, they needed another...
They needed an unstoppable force to
Yep.
kind of bring everything to a close.
Yeah, he had to be there to force the choice for Mystique. Like, he had to be the bad choice.
Mm-hmm. Which is what happened in the first one, too.
But, yeah, all in all, it was a good movie.
Yeah. A+. Much better than that Godzilla crap.
That's true.
Until next time.